Ever feel like life's a bit chaotic? Like you're juggling 1,000 things, but not getting any closer to your goals? Don't worry, you're not alone. Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People has been a game changer for millions. Now, while the book covers 7 habits that will seriously level up your life, we're going to focus on just 4 of them today. These will help you take control, make smarter choices, and communicate better. Habit 1. Be proactive. Think about this. How often do you react to life like a ping-pong ball, just bouncing around depending on what happens to you? Someone cuts you off in traffic, and suddenly, your whole day is ruined. Or your boss gives you extra work, and you're ready to rage quit your job. Covey would say, "Whoa, slow down." Habit 1 is all about being proactive. According to Covey, you have the power to choose how you respond. In fact, he says, between stimulus and response, man has the freedom to choose. You don't have to let external factors dictate your feelings or actions. Covey explains that proactive people focus on their circle of influence, the things they can control, rather than their circle of concern, the things they can't control. For example, you can't control the weather, but you can control how you dress for it. You can't control other people's behavior, but you can control how you react. Here's an example Covey shares. A man he knew was always complaining about his coworkers being rude. Covey advised him to stop focusing on what others did and start focusing on how he reacted. The man changed his mindset, and guess what? His coworkers seemed less rude because he wasn't letting their behavior control his happiness anymore. So next time you feel like life is pushing you around, remember, you're the one holding the controller. No more ping-ponging. It's time to be the one deciding how the game goes. Habit 2. Begin with the end in mind. Ever started a project only to feel lost halfway through because you didn't know where it was going? It's like assembling IKEA furniture without a manual. You end up with a chair that has 3 legs and a shelf sticking out of it. That's where habit 2 comes in. Begin with the end in mind. Covey says, all things are created twice, first mentally, then physically. In other words, before anything happens in the real world, you need to create a clear vision of it in your mind. Imagine attending your own funeral. Yes, Covey goes there. What do you want people to say about you? That you were kind, successful, helpful. This isn't just about legacy, it's about living with purpose. By knowing the kind of person you want to be, you can make decisions that align with that goal. Covey suggests writing a personal mission statement, a mini roadmap for your life. What are your values? What do you want to achieve? This statement is like the GPS for your life's journey. Without it, you're just wandering around, hoping you'll end up somewhere good. Example time. Covey shares the story of a successful business executive who was unhappy despite his success. When asked what he truly wanted, the man realized his family was more important to him than his career, but he hadn't been living that way. Once he began to live with the end in mind, his family's happiness, he restructured his life to reflect that priority. The lesson? Don't let life just happen to you. Design your life like you design a dream house. Start with a blueprint, and then build it. Habit 3. Put first things first. Let's talk about the ultimate life hack, time management. Habit 3 is all about putting first things first, focusing on what's truly important instead of being distracted by what's urgent. Covey introduces a handy little tool here, the time management matrix. Quadrant 1, urgent and important, is where you handle crises, stuff that needs to be dealt with immediately. But the sweet spot is quadrant 2, not urgent but important. That's where you focus on things like long-term planning, relationship building, and personal development. Too many people live in quadrant 1, constantly putting out fires, or worse, in quadrant 3, where they're busy with interruptions that don't really matter. Think about all the emails, unnecessary meetings, or Netflix binges. They feel urgent, but they aren't really getting you closer to your goals. Covey gives an example of a woman who was overwhelmed by all the demands on her time. He told her to focus on quadrant 2 activities, like delegating tasks and setting boundaries. and her life improved dramatically. She wasn't just reacting anymore. She was intentionally deciding how to spend her time. The key takeaway? Focus on what matters, the long-term, meaningful things, so you're not constantly caught up in a whirlwind of busyness without progress. Habit 4. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Let's be honest. We all love to talk, but how good are we at really listening? Habit 4 is about learning to seek first to understand before trying to be understood. In other words, stop mentally drafting your response while the other person is still talking. Covey calls this empathetic listening. It's not about offering advice or jumping in with a solution. It's about really hearing what the other person is saying, feeling, and experiencing. Most of us listen with the intent to reply, but Covey says we need to listen with the intent to understand. Here's a classic Covey example. He shares a story about a father and son who weren't getting along. The father kept telling his son what he should do, but the son didn't feel heard. Covey advised the father to just listen, no advice, no judgments. Once the son felt truly understood, their relationship started to improve. Now, let's make this relatable. Think about the last argument you had with a friend, family member, or partner. Were you really listening, or were you too busy waiting for your turn to jump in? Empathetic listening isn't about agreeing with everything the other person says. It's about understanding where they're coming from. Covey says, most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. It's a game changer when you start actually listening to understand. It builds trust and makes your communication more effective, both at work and in personal relationships. Conclusion. And there you have it. We've just scratched the surface with 4 out of the 7 habits, but they're powerful enough to start making a real difference in your life right now. From taking control with Habit 1, to envisioning your goals with Habit 2, mastering your time with Habit 3, and becoming a better listener with Habit 4. These habits are your blueprint for a more intentional, fulfilling life. But of course, there are 3 more habits in the book that we haven't touched on yet. Covey's wisdom is timeless, and I guarantee you'll get even more out of it.
We touched on a few chapters, but there's much more to know. Read the complete book to let the wisdom flow. Turn pages, chase dreams, erase every doubt. Until next time, a bookser's signing out.